Hey everybody, my name is Lon Stroschein, former public company executive turned best-selling author, coach to elite performers, and self-declared lifestyle engineer. In 2022, I made a decision that changed everything for me. I left my job as a public company executive, and I left without a backup plan, without a resume, and without a Rolodex of clients. I left with a belief that the best days of my life were right in front of me, and that they weren't going to be lived where I was standing. Since that day, my mission has become to be a champion for the best decade of your life. This podcast is here to give you the tools, the stories, and the perspective you're going to need to finally make a bet on you. We're going to talk about the hard stuff here. The conversations here will be raw and real. There are no post-edits, no do-overs, and no limits. You'll hear stories from people just like you who've made the trade, and from those who are right there in the trenches, right where you are, still trying to figure out. If you're here, you're ready to be up to something. And if you're here, you're one decision away from a radically different life. Welcome to the Normal 40. I'm going to see all of you on the podcast. Hey everybody, I'm joined today by my friend Rob Cressy. Rob is a dude who, I got to tell this story, Rob, right off the bat. I got to tell this story about how I came to know you, even though we're neighbors, and we should be recording this in person. It's kind of crazy. I seldom get a chance to do that in here. I didn't even take the opportunity. But it was about 5-6 months ago. I was sitting on a couch you can't see it, but it's right in front of me. And I had been doing some ChatGPT stuff and working away on it. I'm like, I don't know enough about this yet. I don't know enough about ChatGPT. I need to get on and learn. So I just went to YouTube and I just Googled, teach me ChatGPT. And lo and behold, some dude with incredible energy came on to this YouTube teaching some people in the open domain what he could teach them about ChatGPT and how to use it and how to use it to improve their lives where they're at. And I thought to myself, well, this is interesting and super helpful. And this dude is giving away a lot of free content. I should reach out. So while I'm sitting on the couch, I reach out to you. And within an hour or so, you had sent a note back and we discovered, hey, we're neighbors. We should meet. And so fast forward, we decided to meet. We've met a few times, and here we go. Now we're collaborating on a whole bunch of things to include this podcast. So Rob, thanks for being here, man.
Thank you for having me here, Lon. And as you said, dudes like us should be connected.
That is what I told you.
And I was like, legitimately, I was like, that's my guy, because that's not the canned LinkedIn response of like, hey man, let me add you to my network. I was like, no, I talk like dudes like us should be connected.
God, that's right. I forgot. I think that's about all I said. I probably said, I saw your YouTube, dude like us should be connected. And
no, but so you nailed it for anybody who wants game behind the game, because I see this. Step one, credibility. I watched your video. Immediately, I'm a fan of this guy because he's a fan of me, right? So you did something that everybody else doesn't. Number two, dudes like us should be connected, AKA vibe, relatability. So you passed 2 tests right away. Click who you are. I'm like, oh, this dude's a dude too. Let's go. But it's very formulaic, because one of the things is like, how do you build a network? How do you get relationships? How do you connect with new people? It is legitimately, I watched your video on X. Dudes like us should be connected. That being said, where all the spammy company goes is, hey, I listened to your podcast of insert recent podcast episode with Lon and Rob about blah, 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 blah. And you're like, that's a little bit too formulaic for me. Yeah. But the subtext of it is, I love the way you did it.
All right, man. Well, there's a whole bunch of lessons, and I think we're going to get to that. How you actually build human connection on social media, because 99% of social media is such a freaking mind-numbing just disaster. And some platforms are worse than others. But I got to tell you, and I think you can relate too. I know you can. I've made more friends, not fake friends, not deal friends, not friends I hope to make clients, not people I hope to peddle something to, not people I hope to hire. People, just people I can hang out with, talk to, strategize with, not because they're trying to get hired by me. They just want to see me be successful. And likewise, I show up to people. I just want to see them be successful. And if you do social right, man, you can meet some really awesome people.
Yeah,
you are a case in point.
Thank you. So you hear the term, your vibe attracts your tribe, or in my case, energy is transferable. right? Give what you would love to receive. So you sort of put all of these things into a blender right there. And it's like, wow, man, I feel like I know you and I've never met you before. Why? Because I watched your videos, I see your posts. So there is a relatability, there's an authenticity, there's an energy, there's a connection. And all of this is just around what we're creating. I didn't even say what we're creating. This is just the foundation behind all of these things. Then you say, all right, cool. My goal and what I'm sharing is to inspire, educate, or entertain. Okay, cool. Now we're really cooking with gas. You throw all of this together and you do so consistently for, I don't know, a decade in a row, you might meet a few people.
Yeah, right on, man. A few people who are on a similar journey using similar words, and that's where fun happens when you're not trying to get sold something. You're not trying to be marketed. You're not trying to you can't sense that somebody's just trying to get you into a funnel. They just want to connect and they want to actually make real conversation. It's incredible and it's different and you know it when you see it, to your point. And we're going to get into that. But here's where I want to go with you, Rob. I want to establish just who you are a little bit before we get into who you are becoming and where you're going in this world more recently and some of the things we're doing together. So just take me back. Take me back a little bit and tell me before this Rob who's all in on AI, go back 10 years and just tell me what you were up to on this day-ish in 2015.
2015. So 10 years ago, I turned a sports blog into a sports media company called Bacon Sports. My dream at the time was to get paid to talk about sports for a living. A mentor said to me, Rob, if you ever hope to get paid to do what you love, you better be doing it already. I'm like, great, I want to get paid to talk about sports. How in the world do I do that? Well, you teach yourself podcasting, audio, video editing, being a host, being on camera, social media marketing, brand building, building a community. Essentially, my dreams were on the other side of learning how to build a media company because it was easier for me to do that than get hired by ESPN. Oh, I'll just go create a marketing agency instead. So at the time, what we were doing was helping brands market better to sports fans. And who better to help them do that than a dude who is the number one sports fan in the world? So I was hired professionally as a host of shows, so as talent in the worlds of fantasy sports and sports betting. At the same time, I was doing social media marketing and brand building for sports brands. So at that time, I might have been running the social media for Pop-A-Shot. If you remember the arcade basketball game, the originators of the 3, 2, 1, do, 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 do. Yeah, I saw that. I became friends with them and I started running their social. And then I started to do influencer campaigns with Hormel Bacon and a variety of alcohol brands. I threw a event called the Bacon Sports and Beer Celebration in Chicago, where we had 750 people. We had 20 restaurants serving bacon dishes, 25 craft breweries, Nerf games, Pop-A-Shot, Topgolf, all of that. So I lived at the intersection of fan engagement and storytelling. And I'd built that into a creative studio or agency where I was both the talent as well as an entrepreneur in this. So it put me in a very unique perch because a lot of people are just talent. Hey, we're going to hire you to be on camera. A lot of people are just business. Hey, we're going to build a marketing agency. I did all sides of it.
And how long did you do that before you, kind of take us through where you kind of went next?
A decade. So it was legitimately my dream to do this. I started as a sports blog at zero. It just so happens I'm living in Chicago at the time, and I live across the street from Second City, the number one comedy training center in the world, as serendipity would have it. So I learned improv and comedy writing for 4 years as a skill, not to become a comedian, but so that I could apply it to what I was doing as a creator. So when I looked at the content landscape, everything was copy paste, aggregate what's on the internet. And I'm like, I'm way better than that. So I completely built original content for a decade straight, creating thousands of articles, videos, podcasts, live streams, and social media marketing. All of that was phenomenal. And then guess what hit? COVID. So I remember this clear as day because this is in March, and my favorite time of the year is March Madness because I take the Thursday and Friday off of work just to watch the games. It's just like this beautiful time of the year, and it's blocked off in my calendar from 12 until 6, and it's in my calendar. And then COVID hits, and I believe it was either the Tuesday or the Wednesday, like super duper close. And I remember creating a TikTok video showing me deleting my calendar invite for March Madness and playing the Boys to Men song. It's so hard to say goodbye to yesterday. And little did I know that moment would change my business and life and where I am today, because one of the gifts that I have is I am forward thinking. So I understood that the sports industry was in a lot of trouble for the next year, because guess what was gone? Sports. How are you going to talk about sports? At the time, I'm hosting a twice a week sports betting show for a large brand. Twice a week, college football, NFL, everything. And now there's no sports. Wow. Kind of hard to be a host of a show if there's no sports. And then guess what else is gone? Brand marketing dollars. Why? Because there's no games. And now people are getting laid off at these sports companies in jobs that no longer exist before. So I had a opportunity or a moment in my life where you say, all right, am I going to die like the rest of the sports industry? I see what's happening. Do I want to try and claw uphill? The unique thing was I did have a background in sports betting. I'm hosting a sports betting show. So if you are going to be in the world of sports, sports betting is the absolute best thing, because here comes the legalization of sports. Not quite there yet. We're almost there. And during this time at the very end of the decade, let's call it year 9, year 10, I started to get hired as a high performance coach to help teams be better at business by being better at life. Despite the fact that I wasn't a coach, I had no offering, I had no website. But a CEO reached out to me who followed me on Instagram and said, Rob, will you help coach my ad sales team? It was an ad agency in New York. There's 10 of them. I was like, sure. All I have to do is reverse engineer the last decade of my life if I went from zero to a high performer, and I'll just teach them how to do the same. And that became my first coaching client. So now comes this moment. Hey, Rob, I don't know what the next year plus is going to look like in the world of sports, but it looks like it's going to be pretty terrible. So are you going to continue to do this? Do you want to continue to sling sports betting? I've got no judgment one way or another about it. I love sports. Or are you going to step into your true calling of helping people and be a coach? And that's when, and people around me who had seen me naturally, when I'm creating a newsletter, I'm sharing my entrepreneurial journey, my mindset, my habits, my routines, my ways of being, how I'm becoming the best version of my life. It's just natural for me to do it. I want to help people. And in that moment, I said, I would rather live my life helping people become the best version of themselves than me slinging sports betting. And I went all in.
I love it, man. So you're coming through COVID, you're pivoting into what clearly is a calling for you, which is helping others on their journey. And you lead by sharing. And I'm going to tell a story about that later too, but you lead by sharing. You're very generous with what you've given to me, and you give away just every day on your newsletter and everything else. But tell me about the time now. You're a coach. You've come out of this industry that you didn't really want to part ways with, but COVID kind of forced it. It's forced you into becoming what you were probably more naturally wired to do anyway. And then at some point in this career, post 2020, early 2022 to sometime in 2023, you came across this thing called ChatGPT. And I want to probably talk about ChatGPT rather than just talking about AI generally, because it can get lost. I really would just want to focus on ChatGPT, the platform ChatGPT, for now at least. And when did you first discover it? How did you discover it? When did you discover it? And what was the first thing you did with it?
All right, I love this. This is another moment. This is a moment that's going to that changed the rest of my life and can change everybody else's life listening or watching this right now. So, my friend Jeff, he's also an entrepreneur. He's a forward thinker. He's a tech guy, and he sends me a text saying, "Hey Rob, check out this thing called ChatGPT." And at the time on Twitter,
when was that? Ballpark for me. When was that ish?
5 days into it being created publicly, November 2022.
All
so
right.
on the 5th day of existence. And before then, the prior 4 days, I had seen on Twitter Mark Andreessen, the VC, talking about this, but I didn't really like put the 2 and 2 together, right? I see like someone's talking about this thing, and then my friend sends me the link. So I click the link. He's like, "Hey Rob, check this thing out." Day 5. And Within the first minute of using it, I felt like I'd used the internet for the first time. Immediately, I saw the next decade of business. I was all in. It took me 1 minute of using ChatGPT to immediately change my entire life.
Do you remember what you put into it?
I don't remember the very first one, but I can remember the moment. I can share some early moments that broke my brain.
Yeah,
right.
Go for it.
So in this, I couldn't believe this was real. I legitimately felt like this was magic. And I was rolling into this already a master creator and great at what I do. Right. So there's no short of confidence and earned experience on my end. Right. I'm great. And I'm like, wait a second. I'm a master creator. You're telling me and this is $0 at the time. Zero. It's free. I'm like, I can't believe this. So naturally you're like, let me try this. Let me try this. And very quickly I said, I'm going to try and break this 100%. I am going to try and break ChatGPT within, and this is in the first, we're talking first week, if not first days.
Yeah, right on.
I'm going to see what this thing can do. So, with this, the thing that where the light bulb went off for me is I was like, all right, I'm going to go back and try and recreate things that I've previously done. So one of the things I'd been paid for back in the day was helping a brand create a social media strategy. So many brands are on social media, but if their social media manager leaves, they actually don't have anything written down. That person's gone, they're back at zero. So they pay me 5 or 10 grand and say, hey, Rob, in 30 days, I'll deliver to you a written social media strategy. Boom, there, you can go ahead and do this. Legitimately, I did this in about 7 minutes. I was like, oh my God, this used to take me 30 days and 5 grand for someone. And I just did this in 7 minutes. So at the time I'd been building my coaching business brick by brick. So we're talking website, newsletter, ConvertKit, automation emails, coaching program, course, all of the things you air quote think you need to be a coach, where you've got this structure of like, I really support my clients in all that I do. My first program where you're selling yourself on this. And the little idea came to my mind. I was like, all right, ChatGPT, you think you're so good? I want to build a personal development program as if Jesus were alive, right? Because if you're going to build a coaching program, who better to go than Jesus? And this isn't a religious thing. I'm just looking at the best teachers and coaches in the world ever. So I'm like, I want you to create a 12-week coaching program as if you are Jesus. And all of a sudden it goes, do. And I watched as probably in the course of 20 minutes, it created a full-blown coaching program by week for 12 weeks based on what Jesus would teach right now. Is if you opened up your phone right now and there's JC slinging his $47 offer of like, yo, I got the good right here. Come to Jesus's course. I had just spent 2 years and I don't know, $20,000 working with a coach to build that for myself. 20 minutes. Once I saw that, I went game on. And here is the 2 light bulbs that really changed everything for me and really separated me from everybody else. And it still does. And it's super simple. Number one, not romantic about this. I don't have an AI background. I don't have a tech background. I don't have a coding background, but I'm an entrepreneur. So when I look at ChatGPT, it's strictly from a growth lens. How do I turn $1 into $1.50? So everybody else early on was like, oh my God, I can write a blog post that sounds like Donald Duck. I'm like, how do I turn $1 into $1.50? And then number 2 becomes, once I started breaking this and seeing how quickly things were possible, I said, all right, there are legitimately millions and billions of dollars in our ability to ask ChatGPT the right questions. It doesn't mean it's going to spit out a lottery ticket, but it can help you create the systems, the processes, the workflows, the structures, the ideas that when you execute this, it can do it. And this is where my possibility mindset got created.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for listening to Normal 40, the podcast. If you're here, it's probably not an algorithm or an accident. If you're here, it's probably you. And if you're here, I want to invite you to try something else. 2 years ago, I launched a community called The Insider. And when I created it, I thought it was going to be a coaching community where I could come in and teach. But what it's become over the last few months is something radically different. It's a place where we hang out, where we help one another, where we support one another, where people come in really skeptical that there's really a group of people like us doing things like this, and really skeptical if there's anything out there that can be helpful to them. And what they find after only a few calls is that we're really here, we really show up, there really are people in your corner, and that if you lean into it, it can change your life. I'm inviting you to be an insider. It might be the best decision of your lifetime. Go to normal40.com and you'll find the insider, and I hope to see all of you on the inside. All right, so you're early into this on day 5. I mean, I think I was in what I felt was early, and it was probably month 3. So you're into this, you start using it. When does it dawn on you that, hey, wait a minute, I think that if I get in and learn this, I think there's a business to be created. How did that start with you?
All right. So naturally, and this is a perfect lead up because that's what a great host does. You didn't even realize this, but you created the transition because naturally, what does Rob do? I build in public and share what I'm doing. So ChatGPT is created. I start using it in my business, and I get what I call the bug, air quotes, the bug, where I'm using this nonstop. I can't stop using ChatGPT. So when people are like, oh, I'm just not using it enough, I'm like, I'm using this thing like 5 hours a day. Every waking moment, I'm using ChatGPT because I cannot believe this is real. I got the bug. And I just created a Facebook group, which at the time was called like ChatGPT for entrepreneurs and creators. And I would just share, similar to the video that you watched, doing this. And it grew to, I don't know, 700 or so followers on Facebook or something. It's just a repository for this. And after that, so this is 2 months in which I'm actively building in public. And then I'm a part of entrepreneurial groups and masterminds and coaching programs and things like that. So now I'm that dude. Nobody else. I mean, as you said, you were 3 months in. So if you had met me in between day 5 and 2 months and 29 days, you'd have been like, what's this thing? So for me, I went and attended one of my entrepreneurial events, and all of a sudden nobody else knew anything about this other than me. So I just started showing people. I was like, look at this. And boom, someone's like, can I hire you to show me how to do this for an hour? I was like, cool, $500. I'll do it for you. Great. Here's my link. Do it. And in between the sessions of these 2-day long conferences, I Googled ChatGPT course, ChatGPT mastermind, ChatGPT coaching. And guess what I found?
Nothing.
Zero on the internet. Immediately I went all in. Rob is now an AI coach. And that has now been evolved to AI enablement coach, but that's just semantics. So I then immediately built a business around one-on-one coaching for CEOs, entrepreneurs, and their teams. And then I also ran a group coaching program at the same time. So literally in tandem, I became the AI guy because nobody else on the internet had ever done this. And I see what the next decade of business is going to look like, right? So I'm cut from the same cloth as you, Lon, and that of many of the people listening and watching right now. So when you see what's about to be possible, how many of us would love to have been there when YouTube was started or Facebook was invented or doing the first Google ads? Well, guess what? Every alarm bell in my head is going off being like, Rob, that's that moment.
So how much does this change in a period of time? So we talked about it. So this was, it's not that long ago. We talked about me, January of 23. That's not that long ago in the grand scheme of things. But if I'd have waited 1 year, or if you'd have waited 60 days, I bet if you'd went to Google 60 days later and said AI coach, there'd have been, or ChatGPT coach, there'd have been thousands. It's hard to quantify it in dollars and cents, but how fast does it change? And what are you missing? What are we all missing by just not trying this?
What I'm really trying to do is help people see what I see. That's it. I'm not going to try and overly romanticize this. It's not a technical thing. It's not anything else other than I see what is possible and there's no ceiling to this game. And I legitimately believe this is the greatest opportunity we will ever have in the history of our lives, listening and talking right now, right? And even if someone's sitting here right now at 0, the game just started. Because Lon, here's the thing. You can say, oh, there's probably thousands of AI coaches. Cool. Everybody ask yourself this. How many AI coaches do you currently know right now? You're going to look around and be like, none other than this dude on this call, because guess what? Guess how many I know? None. Right? So it's like, this doesn't exist, which it's its own challenge as a business owner. You're like, hey, I'm this coach that nobody even knows that a coach exists. Why? Because I created myself into the expert by living the experience of it and doing the reps. So Lon, one of the things that you were saying is like, well, what did this change in me? This changed my entire business. Rob used to be known as the podcasting guy, right? I had podcasting programs. I did one-on-one coaching with podcasts, or for leaders who wanted to launch a podcast. I helped brands build shows, like legitimately full cycle, 5-day-a-week shows, audio, video, production, all that stuff. Immediately, I was like, goodbye podcasting, hello, all in on AI. And guess what also sort of went to the side? The personal development coaching. Because I love more than anything in life helping people. The personal growth side, the mindset, the internal work, the things that impact not only the client's life, their family's lives, their children, their friends, their coworkers. Like, and you know this, Lon, you're that dude too. The impact zone that we create by the work that we do with our clients is exponential. I love it the most. But not everybody is built or wants that level of coaching or high performance or is ready for that. So I'm aware of it. When people are ready, we'll create together. But when it came to the AI side of things, all of a sudden, my inbox started to go, hey, Rob, AI coach. Hey, Rob, AI coach. Hey, Rob, AI coach. Hey, Rob, AI coach. And I'm like, ding, ding, ding. Almost every inquiry for the last 2.5 years now is coming from Rob, the AI coach. So I sat there and I was like, all right, we're going to do a brand shift. And this is only top level LinkedIn bio and all this other stuff, my website, stuff like this, to being an AI coach. And here's the unique thing about this, Lon, and this is actually going to be very valuable for everybody listening or watching right now, is that the thing that makes me great at AI and as a coach is all of my past experience. So when someone is coaching with me, it is not just about AI. AI is just a tool. It's a vehicle. I am actually doing as much personal development and mindset and high performance coaching and business coaching with my AI clients than I have ever done before, because it is one and the same. AI is the tool and the vehicle that can help us do this. And when you are building a business or you're transitioning into something new, you're going to be dealing with what's my offer, what's my business, down to I'm leaving this job and I'm moving into this thing, and the interpersonal side and my mindset and my thinking and my creativity. All of a sudden, my decade of building a sports marketing agency, my 15 years of self-development, and now my 2.5 years of AI full-time gave me an advantage unlike anybody else. Nobody's rolling in with that mixture of how to help somebody.
So let's get into how to help somebody. And I'm going to give you an avatar of who's probably going to be a majority of the people listening. So the person is probably over the age of 35. And they have dedicated themselves to something specific over the last decade: a single company, a single opportunity, a single job function or industry would probably be better said. And they've arrived at this place, and they're probably searching to some extent, but they're hearing everywhere, AI this, AI that, and probably most of them own some sort of stock portfolio because it has AI in it. So they know AI is around. And I'm going to bring this back to ChatGPT because I said that's what we want to do here. But so AI is kind of this buzz term that if you don't really pay attention to it, it gets lost in a whole bunch of things. And so when we ask about AI and ChatGPT, this avatar probably uses it. They probably use it a little bit. They have an account. They've probably gone on, asked it some questions, treated it like a Google search, which, by the way, does fantastic for that. It's not that that's bad. It's just that's how they're used to using technology. That's how they're used to using, quote, search. And that's what they think of when they think ChatGPT. So that's kind of the avatar of this person. So for them, and it doesn't matter where they are in the industry, whether they're a physician or a banker or an attorney or a line manager or whatever, what would be the first thing you would tell them to do? Go open up ChatGPT, and here are one or two things that you would have each of them do just so that they can have this moment you described for yourself. I just saw the internet for the first time. And I remember when it happened for me, and that is how it feels when you prompt it right. And so just walk us through, give us some tips. And where do you start if you've been treating it like Google?
I just did this last week with someone. It's actually a group exercise. I think there's 40 entrepreneurs for this. And I just said, let's start with something that you love, right? What are you most excited about right now? What is alive in you? Write down that one thing that when you're looking at your business or your life, you're like, Rob Lawn, this is what's alive in me right now. What's that topic? Cool. Great. There's our starting point. And then you literally go into ChatGPT, and I'm going to keep this very basic. What's alive in me right now is X, whatever X is. And you're like, cool. Transitioning from a job that I've been in for a decade to this new business that I'm really excited about, but I'm starting from zero. Cool. We've just got the framing of the thing that you would love right now. Then you can say, cool. Well, what do you want to do with this? Do you want to say, what is the quick win that I can create in the next 7 days? What are the top 5 challenges I will face? What would Tony Robbins advise me right now to make this the best year of my life? Insert whatever it is. So all you're going to do is say, thing that's alive in me, and then question. Is the question a yes and where you're building? Is the question a give me 5 questions I might not be thinking about? Or do you want advisement from somebody? Whatever it is, boom, you go in there. And the reason I like to start with this is because you're already thinking about this. Because one of the things that I want to help you see that I see is that everything you need is already inside of you. This AI ChatGPT thing actually has nothing to do with AI and ChatGPT. It's all around your vision, right? So if you start with what's alive in me, it's like, wow, what's alive in me is creating a brand new podcast, but I don't know how to ... Okay. So that one of the first things that I teach my clients is take what's in your head and get it into ChatGPT. Rob, I don't know what to prompt. Just say whatever you think, even if it's half baked. Boom. And you get that in there. And once you do that, that opens up a brand new portal of possibility. You'll go, whoa, okay, that makes sense. But what do I do now? I don't know. Ask another question. Look at one sentence. Look at one word. Build on top of it. Give me something else. And then now this becomes a conversation all around active co-creation, because maybe you just want to be inspired, but chances are, since you get down like Lon and I do, this is actually in service of something that you're really excited about. So now we're going to go back to the fundamentals that we talked about. All right, this is for business growth. If I was using this as a growth engine where this is my creative assistant, or this is my personal assistant, or it's my CMO, what would I love for it to create? And Lon, you said something, because the power of language. You said people are using it like search, right? Mm-hmm. I'm going to flip the frame. Go from search to creating. Every time I open up ChatGPT, I am creating. I'm not searching. Searching it's actually limiting. It's in the distance. It's scarcity. I don't have it. I'm trying to find it. One of the number one things I say to my clients at nauseum is when they say, oh man, I'm trying to figure out. I'm like, figure out, throw that in the trash. Figuring out versus creating. Creating is powerful. This is what you want to bring to life. So when you start with what's alive in you, oh, well, I don't have to think anything about that. Now just peel that onion. And this layer, this layer, this layer. Is it the questions? Is it the problems? Hey, give me the top 10 pain points. Give me the top 10 things I'm not thinking about. Whoa. Go ahead.
Yeah, man, it's so true. If you think about how we're all conditioned, we're all, I'm older than you, but we're all roughly on the same path, same journey. And we all grew up. I remember the first time hearing the word Google in Google search, because there was all sorts of search engines back in the day, from Yahoo to Ask Jeeves to something called Dogpile. I mean, just all these randos. And then Google came along, and then, that became the word for search is Google. But when you go to Google to this day, if I'm going to use Google, I'm going to say restaurant near me, or who won the 1987 World Series, or whatever. You're using it because you kind of know exactly what you want. You're looking for a specific answer to a specific question. And that is search. I mean, you're searching for a specific answer to a specific question, and you're flipping that to create. And I'm going to take it and I'm going to put my spin on create. And I love create. I'm a creator. I think creatively. I think in terms of creation. But part of creation is confronting. And I think if you can stare at this little box that's blinking at you saying, ask me anything. And if you stare at it through the lens of, I need to confront something. I need to confront something that I haven't even talked to other people about. I need to confront the fact that I'm not happy at this job and I might want to do something else. And then you prompt it beautifully. What's alive in me? Well, what's alive in me is maybe I want to be a coach. Maybe I want to inspire other people to do something else. Maybe I want to be a gardener. Maybe I want to be whatever. But you put that in there. And it's this confrontation that you don't want to tell anybody else. But now it's out there. And then you follow it up with one of two things. You make this confession. Hey, I'm feeling like this. This is what I do, but this is what I'm thinking about. This is what's alive in me. And then the very next question is a how question. And we all have people we admire. You use Tony Robbins. Great. Let's just keep going down that path. And let's go down the path of Rob Cressy. I want to be, what's alive in me is I feeling called to be an AI coach and combine all of the skills of the last decade of my life to doing something. That was, I mean, you're not a secret guy. You were telling the whole world that. For most people, though, it's kind of like, I don't know if I want to tell anybody this. So you put that in there. And then the very next question, you get like, okay, Rob, that sounds great. I think you'd be great for that. And your next question is, how would Tony Robbins go about building a business like this? Holy shit. And you're going to get pages of stuff, not like ad nauseum. It's going to be stuff that sucks you in because you know Tony Robbins, you know how he thinks, you know how he talks, because he's, if that's who you're using, then you're going to immediately admire the crispness of the response, and then follow that up with ask. And that is where you ask the GPT to question you. Now you're done asking it the questions. Give me 10 questions that I should be considering that helps me think through how to create this business. And it starts asking you questions. Well, now guess what? You're into a dialogue. You're into a dialogue, and it will blow your mind with where that takes you. And it takes you places where you couldn't have gone. You know why? Because you're actually confronting something that Google can't help you confront, that the creative mind in you has kind of lost how to do because you've got deadlines and restrictions and quarter end and month end and weekend and day end. So when you confront this thing, man, this whole different energy kind of pops out, and it allows you to just kind of think differently.
You nailed it, because I've got a keynote coming up in 10 days to 100 business owners in Orlando. And one of the things that I will be sharing with them is all around thinking differently, because the number one thing I'm seeing limit or hold people back is they think that success in the AI era means I have an AI or a tech background, right? Because we think this is all techie or whatever. Throw that in the trash. The key to all of this is thinking differently, unlike anybody else. And for me, this is where creativity becomes a superpower. So your success in ChatGPT is directly correlated to your ability to think, your mindset. Whoa, here's the beautiful thing about that. You can adopt and create any mindset that you want. You can do anything. And you're like, well, wait a second. You're telling me this ChatGPT could, in theory, Lon, it could write me a tweet that I put out right here, or a post for LinkedIn, right? Or it could build me a rocket ship to the moon, right? Yeah, it could build those blueprints. Well, wait a second. If it can write you a tweet or a rocket ship to the moon, everything in between there is what we're going to call capacity. The bigger you think and the bigger you dream is the absolute game changer skill of the next decade. Because no longer for the rest of your life do you ever have to wonder, how do I do something?
So I kind of want to keep this tactical on certain levels, because the people are like, okay, I get it. It's going to be a big deal. Got it. We're building rocket ships. But how do I use it? I'm a bank manager, and I've got a team of 6 loan officers, and they're younger than me, and they probably are using ChatGPT. And boy, part of me kind of feels like using ChatGPT is cheating. It's like this unfair advantage. It's like it's proving I'm not smart because ChatGPT is going to make me lazy. And so rather, I don't believe that, neither do you. And rather than discussing why we don't believe that, how should that person go about thinking, okay, as a bank manager, or you pick the profession if you want to pick a different one, I'm just picking examples. How can they put that to use in a way that helps them run a better department?
Let's be unromantic about this. It's nice and simple. Write down, number 1, 5 things I don't like doing in my current job. Cool. You write those things down. Number 1, hey, ChatGPT, I don't like doing TPS reports. How can I use ChatGPT to make this easier or better or offload this to somebody else? Oh, all right. What are 5 things I wish I could do in my business? Hey, ChatGPT, what are 5 things that banking managers could automate using ChatGPT? So what you're doing is you're opening up the door to what you're not seeing, and ChatGPT fills in that capacity. So the way that I would think about this, Lon, very easily is almost like a percentage, 10-80-10. You roll in with the 10% at the top. Hey, here's the top 5 things that are draining my energy. You use 80%, ChatGPT responds to the other 80% back and forth with you, filling that in. And then at the very end, before you ship the work, you do your human pass that says, hey, I'm not just relying on AI generated creation. I'm going to look to make sure I do this before. And once again, what is this, Lon? It's a seeing, it's a vision. But I just want you to see the things in your day that AI or ChatGPT, I know we're talking about ChatGPT, that ChatGPT can help you. So this is where I take what's in your head and get into ChatGPT. And here is a quote that I legitimately say to myself every single day, and I say to my clients. You want this mantra running through your head. What am I not asking ChatGPT to do? Why? Because, and here's actually, I'm going to give a free gift. At the end of the first coaching call with every single client who works with me, I give them this homework assignment. I say, here's what I would love for you to do. I want you to create 3 non-business use cases for ChatGPT. So you're going to go into ChatGPT and you're going to ask it 3 separate things that have nothing to do with business. And I'll give the example. It might be, how do I cook the perfect omelet? It could be, how do I fix my toilet? It could be, I want to book a vacation in either Cabo or Spain. Which is better for having a 3-year-old child and why? Whatever it is, nothing to do with business. And all of a sudden it's going to go back and it's going to create the answer for you. So, well, Rob, why in the world are we doing this exercise? Because you're going to work on your skill of vision. If you see that you can ask it, how do I cook a world-class omelet or how do I fix a toilet? Then you can very easily create the connection to how do I create better TPS reports as a banking manager, or how do I deal with a disgruntled employee who's showing up late, but he's a high performer for our team, and I'm afraid if I fire him, our sales are going to go down. The more you see, the more you can see. And that's the thing, is you will create this earned experience by cooking the perfect omelet. Never again will you say, well, how do I cook a steak? Or how do I saute mushrooms? You'll just go, oh, I can ask ChatGPT. Well, then you do the travel example. Oh, I'm going on vacation. I'll just ask ChatGPT. Well, since it's so common in everyday life, then just very naturally for business, you'll be like, well, I guess as part of my job as a banking manager once a month, I do got to write a newsletter that says, hey, here's what I'm seeing in the industry. Wonder if ChatGPT can help me with that. So let me just look at the things that I'm already doing and then just ask ChatGPT how to do it better.
Hey, everyone. Thank you once again for listening to Normal 40, the podcast. Look, there's a reason why this podcast is going to get downloaded thousands of times. And there's a reason why thousands of people show up to what I write and what we share. And there's a reason why hundreds of you join me on The Insider. The Insider is a community that I thought was going to be a place for me to show up and teach and coach. But what it's become is a fan base for people who are ready to get started. It's a place to connect to the people you're going to need for the best decade of your life. And it's the most affordable community, most valued community that I can offer. And I show up in there at least twice a month. And we do live events and have special guests. And I even record podcasts in there from time to time. So look, go to normal40.com, join the Insider, check it out for yourself, and do yourself a favor. Let's be up to something. All right, I'm going to get back to the podcast. How do you integrate that into your day? And let's really use you in a real example. Not that you need to recreate the story, but how do you just make it instinctual? Like it's instinctual to check your text message when your phone vibrates, or it's instinctual to look at your wrist when you need to know what time it is, so that it just kind of is there and present for you.
All right, nice and simple. And this what I'm about to say is worth six figures. Number one, this is all around just creating the habit, Lon. This is no different than learning a bike. We're just overly romantic. Like, oh my God, it's AI tech. I'm not a tech person. No, you're learning something new. At some point, you didn't know how to use Google. You didn't know how to use HubSpot. You didn't know how to use Facebook. Yet somehow we found a way to make that work, right? So learning something new is nothing new. So the bigger challenge people have, as you're saying, Lon, is they just don't have the habit. So number one, I want you to go to your browser right now on your computer, and I want you to change the default browser to ChatGPT. Not ESPN, not Google, not Ask Jeeves, ChatGPT. Why? So then when you open up your computer, you use the most powerful thing in the world that also has search functionality inside of it, right? So now what that will do is help you win the power of awareness. Oh man, I just never thought about, I forgot the ChatGPT was a thing. Well, you just touch that browser, it goes dink, 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 dink. And then number two, on your mobile phone, all I want you to do is to download the ChatGPT app and put it on your home screen. Why? Awareness. And this is just habit building 101. If you want to read a book every single morning, Lon, you know what helps? Having that book set right next to your coffee machine. You go and get that coffee. You're like, hey, what's this book doing right here? Wonder if I should read it. The same is true with ChatGPT. So let's not make this hard, like, oh my God, we're climbing Mount Everest. No, change your home screen.
How safe is the data? We talked about one of the things it feels like to use it right, it feels like there's going to be an element of confession and confronting here. I shouldn't say that. There's a thousand ways to use it right. One of the ways where it's really going to blow your mind, however, is when you kind of lean into these things that you've been putting off. How safe is the data? So like if I put in there, I'm thinking about quitting my job and starting my own company. It's not a direct competitor, but it's probably going to upset some people. If that's my confession that I'm going to put in, how safe is that data that my boss, other people can't somehow search and find what I'm thinking? Browser history. The end of the world is going to come when we can read one another's negative thoughts they have about you when you're looking them in the eye. That will be the end of the world when minds are able to read other people's minds. And this is as close as we're going to get to that in my lifetime. How safe is that information once you put a search in there, or you start working on a business plan, you put your company's strategic plan in there and you try to, you want to analyze it. How safe is it?
I'm going to give two answers. I'm going to answer your answer, but I'm going to give you, I always say this to my clients, I'm not going to give you a fish. I'm going to teach you how to fish. And I'm going to do that first. Because Lon, I would hope that somebody listening right now would go, well, Robin, Lon, can't I just ask that to ChatGPT? The answer is yes. Right? So if you ever wonder how safe is
ChatGPT can be lying to me, man. They're taking my information and shipping it off to some rando somewhere, paying them big bucks. They could be telling me
totally. And you just say, be my critical friend. I'm not looking for a yes man. I want factual information. Right? Just drill that. So here's the next thing. Step one, go to ChatGPT and in your settings, there's a tab that allows you to turn off it training on your data. I do this. I advise all my clients do this. I don't want ChatGPT to train on my data. Cool. Why? Then I'm not part of all of the other LLM stuff. And I actually do this not for stranger danger, just because I'm a unique butterfly and I want my own creating to be a part of my world, not what's part of the LLM world. That being said, a lot of this is going to be be smart about this, right? If you're concerned about privacy and data, then you say, all right, well, I'm going to start with non-privacy and data things. In the world of big business, this is a real thing, data and compliance, right? Because what if credit card number? No, don't put in your credit card number. Don't put in your social security number. So we're going to we'll start with common sense. The things that if it got out, would you be like, oh my God, no. Okay, cool. So you've got that sort of things. You turn off the data and privacy or the data so it's not trained on your stuff there. And then number two becomes you're legitimately going to want to create a mindset for yourself about this, right? So you don't want to be living in fear that, oh my God, ChatGPT is releasing all of my data to the aliens who are going to give it to the robots. No, like I understand the question right here. From my perspective, I have zero fear of data and privacy. Why? Because I'm not putting anything in there in which I'm like, oh my God, if this got put on the New York Times, am I going to? But Rob, what about your journaling and all of your stuff? It is not publicly shared information, right? So I'm not going to roll in with a diatribe of all of this stuff on data and privacy. For me, it's not a thing. I've got my safeguards in place. Create what works for you and move on. And if you feel resistance, do more research until you don't feel resistance. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, I feel the same way. You know, if you wouldn't put it in Google, or you wouldn't buy it on Amazon, or you wouldn't put it in an email that is outside of your company's domain, then probably don't put it into ChatGPT. Don't take your company's strategic plan that you don't own. If you own your company, it's on you. Don't take the company that you're an employee at strategic plan and upload it if you're worried about it. Just don't do it, you know? But I think most of us, look, we're so conditioned that if people want to know stuff about me based on my Amazon account, my Netflix, what I watch on Netflix, what I have in my Gmail, what I post on LinkedIn, what I have on Facebook, I mean, we're so digitized anyway. Just be smart with it. I think that's the best possible advice. And if you're uber paranoid, not for you. Don't do it. We're not going to convince you. We're not here to try to convince you. We're just here to tell you it's powerful if you decide to use it.
And I'm going to give you a yes and here, Lon. And this is going to show where the real opportunity lies. Because one of the things that always makes me laugh in AI discussions is this is nothing new. Because we can go ahead and Google Bryant Gumbel, Katie Couric, Today Show Internet. And you're going to watch the video of Katie Couric saying to the camera operator, what's this thing called internet? Right? And this is like live, right? Yeah. All of this, there's a live video of this thing right here. And I always like to use this as a juxtaposition because at that point, could you imagine if we put our credit card into this thing called internet? Oh my God, all of the bad people are going to steal our credit cards. Or imagine if you were the first person to start doing credit card transactions on the internet. Who do you think is having a better day right now? Right? So this is opportunity versus stranger danger.
All right. So let's put a bow on this. What should somebody who's been just a really passive user, what challenge do you have for them so they've got to log in, they can find it if they know how to get in, they know how to do the very basics. We've kind of given them some best practices of how you got started. What challenge would you leave with them that is going to, in 1 week's time, with just 15 minutes a day or 20 minutes a day, is going to really move them forward? What challenge do you have for them?
Well, if we're saying it's 7 days, then use it once a day for 7 days. Just put in 3 prompts. 3 prompts a day for 7 days. 21 different prompts. Well, what do I put it in? Try a bunch of different stuff. Some for business, some for life, some for personal, some for fun. Create something. Try and impress yourself. Try and break it. So by doing it once a day for 7 days, Lon, that might take, I don't know, 10 total minutes, right? If we don't have 10 minutes to use the most powerful thing ever created in the history of the world, then we have a completely other problem right here. Here's what I advise to my clients, because I hear this all the time. Just get in your first 20 hours. So legitimately, I know I was all in immediately, but when I try and help coach people on this, even that aren't even my clients yet, I just say, go from 0 to 20. And what's 20 hours? Well, 20 hours is really an hour a day, 5 days a week for a month, right? You will learn more in 20 hours than you ever will by watching every YouTube video in the world, because this is earned experience. You cannot fake experience in all of this. And Lon, where most people are losing right now is inconsistency. They're stacking zeros, not ones. So if you use it 1 day, 2 days, so in this 7-day challenge of these 3 prompts, if you're living in Lon's world, it is impossible after 7 days that you're not going to be on fire with it. It just is, because you're a high performing person. You've been great at what you do, and you see a vision of what's possible for your future, and there's something alive in you. So once a day, 3 prompts, 10 minutes, boom, boom, boom. Do that for 7 days in a row. Change your default browser to ChatGPT. Sign up for the paid version. Rob, it's $20 a month. It's the greatest computer ever invented in the history of the world. This is a non-negotiable. If you're listening to this right now, either don't use AI or sign up for the $20 version. It's as simple as that.
All right. So here's just a summary of my notes for people. Treat this, give it your curiosity. And the C's we talked about was come up with a confession. And I kind of think that's the right word. Something you want to confess, something that's sitting on your heart, something that lights you up, and lean into that. Then confront it. So confess, I want to, or I'd like to. Confront, will you help me? Will you help me think this through? Just that's kind of the prompt for that. Then get curious about it. And there's 2 major curiouses. There's 1,000 really, but if you start with, ask me questions that help me clarify. There's a curious, or solve this like insert name of somebody you admire here. Solve this like Rob Cressy would solve this. And what you're doing in that is creating. You're creating something that is going to blow your mind. That's yours. It's your confession. It's your confrontation. It's your curiosity. And you're going to use technology to help create something. And then guess what? It's yours, and you get to get curious about that again. And this is the daily 1 hour a day cycle that you're talking about. If you're the type of person who can see value when you see it, and if you're listening to this podcast, you're going to realize that, holy smokes, you should have been doing this 9 months ago, because it was easy, it was instantaneous, and now that you've got a system and a process to just kind of think through how to get the most out of it, it's going to blow things wide open.
I'll leave with this, Lon. What we call this is thinking into the AI. So whatever's on your mind, think into the AI and just type it. And once you realize that, once again, everything you need is already inside of you. You don't have to go learn new things, just use it.
All right, man. So look, you are, and people will see this when they look you up. You are so generous with everything you create every day. You don't hide it. You don't make people hide it behind a firewall, a paywall. You got a newsletter, you're on YouTube, and you're giving stuff away. I've gotten tremendous value out of you as we become friends. I get to just ask you and pop you with questions, and you're like, oh yeah, that tech stack works too, but you should do this. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll give that a whirl. So you're really generous with sharing and helping, and people need to know where to find you. So talk about your newsletter and talk about where they should find you and how they can connect with you.
Yeah, easy way to connect with me. Search Rob Cressy on LinkedIn and Instagram. Those are the number 2 platforms and where you're going to see me. Shoot me a DM if you listen or watch this right there, so I know where you're coming from there. And then if you go to robcressy.ai, I've got a framework section where I actively build out for all different levels of, hey, I'm just starting out, to I've been using it every day, to wow, I want to build an AI first business. Click the frameworks tab. I've got that right there. I've got a YouTube channel. You can just search Unlimited AI Lab. Lon, the YouTube channel, legitimately, I give to my clients before they start becoming my clients. If you did nothing but watch the YouTube channel that we've created over the last year, it will be your MBA in how to do this in a very simple manner right there. And I have a podcast built for the game, all around winning in business and life for the long haul.
I can vouch for all that. I used your and Colin's podcast as recently as this week, as I was trying to say, I'm a savage when it comes to ChatGPT. I know my way around that really well, but not Claude. And so based on your advice, I just went to your YouTube channel, man. And I'm like, okay, I spent hours, not hundreds. I spent like 3 hours just watching this. I'm like, okay, got it. Intuitive, got going. So I can vouch for it. It's good, straight to the point, and really helpful.
Thank you very much.
All right, everyone. That's going to do it. Rob, thanks for being here. Thanks for being you. Thanks for being a giver. And dude, I'm going to see you on the next page.
Looking forward to it.